Okay, so let's go on with this. So the objective is basically to help us understand what social media is and how it can influence our youth and the world, but also want to look at the Bible and the church teachings to young people, especially in dealing with these issues. What is social media and what is internet? Probably that is also something very good to understand. Internet is generally what so many people, it's like a provision of space. It's a space where people can do so much. So the social media, the different types of channels where people can do much, the Instagrams, the WhatsApps, the Facebooks, and so on. There are so many. I can't know everything actually about what social medias are there. And they use the phones, the computers, the tabs, the iPads, and so on. And what is the problem? I think that has been a big question. What is the problem? But as we grow in the use of this, we are seeing this as the problem is a big one, which we need to understand, even if the advantages are also so many. So internet is an incredible marvel of technology, and like most marvels, it has incredible potential for good or for evil. There are things. I see someone raising their hand. I don't know. Could you just go in the chat room and Ruth will be attending to any issues? Isaac K. Media, you are raising up your hand. I won't be able to attend to raised hands, sorry, during the presentation, but you can just go in the chat room and Ruth will be reading those. Then she can attend. If there's something very urgent, then she can let me know. So in this presentation, if it was not a virtual one where we are just not in the same, I would have asked you to share your experiences. What are the bad things you've heard about social media? But there's a lot. I'll just share mine. The web has so many things that you can't control. They have all the information there, which sometimes is not good. And sometimes it's not age selective. Let's say information which is for people who are above 18 may be shared. It's shared, and even people, users who are 10 years can access it as long as they go to the media. And most of these medias don't have restrictions. Then it can also have addictions, which we are going to look at within this presentation. So it's not only about computers, it's about media, people, media, and the choices, and choices, and those are important issues for a Christian. We can choose to use email to keep in touch with friends, do research for schoolwork or work projects, check out and support our favorite Christian music artists, and discuss hobbies, not to mention spiritual benefits with people around the world, the whole world. There are so many potentials with this. Now look at the statistics here, just to show you that this is an important thing where we have to embrace, or as youth leaders, we need to be on technology, and even as youth. I know as we discuss about youth, you'll notice that the church definition talks of youth from 4 years up to 30 plus, but what is important also to learn is there are people who are, you would call underage, and they are using media. So look at the statistics here. I've brought US statistics, and the next slide I'll try also to give you some statistics which are sort of global. So in this particular one, we have today's teens spend more than 7.5 hours a day consuming media. Now, these are US statistics, but they're a bit old. This is, I think, 2015. So you'll find that if you're talking of 7.5 for a US teen, Now, some of our teens living in towns, even rural areas, have access to these gadgets. They have TVs, they have radio. Nowadays, radio is not only on the radio set; it is on the phone. This morning, when the radio was having issues, I went to Prime Radio on my phone, and still I would follow the CAM meeting program on Prime Radio on the phone. So then, in media here, we're also talking about other issues like using video games. So you'll find that so many of our young people are there. 93% of teens ages 12 to 17 go online. Now, 93 is an overwhelming number. You can't imagine that you have people between the age of 13, and I know just because the numbering is teen, but for teens, we've started also including the age of 12 because the characteristics of some of these people from 12 years are almost the same as the teenagers. So they are talking of 12 to 17. They go online. 38% of teens send texts daily, while a quarter send texts via social media. Now, those are SMSs and so on. So if you neglect as a Christian leader to visit these people online, then it will be a big mess because you don't know what they are texting on WhatsApp, on SMS, on Facebook. I want to think that all people listening to this presentation have Facebook accounts and they are using them well for the right purposes. Oh, someone should mute themselves, sorry. Then, 1 in every 25 teens has had problems in using the internet, and those students also tended to be more depressed and would get into serious fights more often. Now, 1 of every 25 is not a small number. So you're talking of 4%. Yes, looks small, but remember, this is an old statistic, and they did just a small sample for those of you who have done research. Now, you'll find that this is a growing problem, and now that with the challenges of lockdowns, even challenges of boarding schools where students spend much time in their dormitories, and when they are not supervised, some of them sneak in with phones, and they can always do, even at home, because we are busy parents and we don't have all the time to supervise the students or the teens or the youngsters. So it's a big issue that media is, our youth are hooked to the media. Then talk of cell phones. Now, these cell phones came way back when they were big things, and most of the people couldn't imagine that we'll have a cell phone which is just like, which you put in your palm and then you can move on. But they have come truly a blessing. They're allowing us opportunities to multitask, work smarter and not harder, access information at lightning fast speed, and so many other things. And I think even as Christians, we are happy that so many people are getting the gospel through this social media technology. But as with anything that offers blessings, there are curses in disguise. And with the incredible power that cell phones give to youth, great responsibility and caution must be taken. So this is something which we need to watch carefully. How are our young people using the cell phones? Obviously, the issue, as we've said, is social media. So we need to exercise caution. Okay, I'll try to move faster because the presentation still has other important issues. So mobile phone internet usage. Now, this is a global statistic. Oh, okay. This is a global statistic which you may not find also in the GC presentation. So if you don't find it, please don't. But it's just something that's just I added to make this presentation richer for us to appreciate the issue we are talking about here. So you'll find that we are having 52.7 of the global mobile phone population, and these access the internet from their mobile phones. So this is old. 2015 is far. So we're now in 2025 years ago. You'll find that 80% of the people, most of you listening to me, don't have what they call kabiriti, the one our president Musa showed us one time in lockdown. I think even him, he has 2 phones, I want to believe, because the level of his responsibility probably calls for that. But what I'm trying to show you is this percentage could be 80%. Most people now are having smartphones. Even those you feel may not need them, but they are using them anyway for whatever they use. Then they are saying that mobile devices, excluding tablets, were accounting for 49.7% of the web page views worldwide. Maybe some of you could be knowing this, but just to highlight this, whenever we visit the internet, most of these sites are collecting our data. They are collecting location, they are collecting our gender, they collect what we surf most, what we do most on the internet. For example, if you surf religious literature, they'll bring you adverts of Bibles, Christian books. If you search for dresses, mainly they will bring you adverts of dresses on your, some of the Yahoo accounts still do that, but on Facebook, on other social medias, even Instagram, Pinterest, all those social media accounts you have, they keep tracking you. Even on mails, if you search for scholarships, they'll bring such things. So that's how they gather these statistics. You'll find that when in 2017, they were talking of 49% of the web access, of the full access to the internet, they were using mobile devices. So it's still a high figure. Then Asia and Africa, we had a higher than average mobile traffic share where we had 65.1%. And this one is for Asia, and for Africa 59. This is far 2015, but I want to believe, I didn't update this because I didn't get the updated one for 2020, but I want to believe with COVID coming in and tying people in homes and many people being idle and others not real idle but having much time to do on social media for work or research or studies, this percentage should be higher than 70 for Africa and maybe higher than 80 for Asia. Obviously, Asia is a highly populous continent. We all know that because China and India are the most populated and they are in that continent. So, but the point is, this part of the presentation is to bring to your just for the sake of standing side by side with their culture. Oh, someone has. And also the religious person. I didn't say Christian. Someone has unmuted themselves. Okay, let me just solve that here, if I can get it. Okay, it's solved. Now, after you knowing that, then you'll know that you need to really take care of what is done on social media, and you need to be there yourself. My fellow co-hosts kindly help me deal with the people who are unmuting so that we don't get disturbances in the background. So in 2020, the number of smartphone users worldwide is projected to reach this. They were projecting this sometime. That's 2.8 billion. Now this is around a quarter, over a quarter of the world population, around 30%. But this should have gone higher. People are using real devices higher, more. Okay. Now we want to look at the solutions of the challenges. We will be looking at other challenges ahead. Yes. One, we must understand our youth. We must help our youth understand that technology is neither some scary evil plot to destroy their mind and souls, or is it the heaven-sent answer to all Earth's problems? My son, who is 8, is attending Zoom classes from home, and some of the issues they ask him, he tells me, Daddy, you ask Mr. Google. So he believes Mr. Google has every solution, but he's not alone, because most of us, even listening to me, you believe Mr. Google will answer everything. So Mr. Google, yes, has answers, and it's good to consult him, but you need to be cautious. He doesn't have every answer in the right way. So you need to be very, very cautious. But also, we don't want to scare our youth from social media. They should be encouraged to be there, but they should be monitored and mentored to do the right things. Pastor Paco was telling us that one time fellow pastors were telling him that, you see, Facebook is Satan. You should leave Facebook. But now, when during COVID, he posted actually on his Facebook page and was kind of scoffing his fellow pastors and saying, you people were saying Facebook is the devil. So why are you telling everyone to tune to Facebook to watch to get the worship sessions and follow the church programs? So we need to be very careful. If you say Facebook is the devil, then you will say that you yourself or myself am the devil, because the devil operates with human beings. So whatever human beings can operate, the devil can use them to operate it for the bad. So Facebook was brought for us to use it to glorify God. Then it's just a tool that can be used for evil. That one I've been explaining. Then we've also studied throughout this seminar that it's a very important part of our leadership is to model good social media choices in our lives. If we are not, it won't matter what we tell them. Now, as leaders, what do we do on social media? Ask yourself that question. I'm going to be giving you activities. Actually, this presentation, this study has activities for you, which you'll carry out later in your free time. But ask yourself, how do I use social media as an individual? What do you do on social media? Check yourself. Please, whoever is unmuting themselves, kindly monitor your button. So it's very important as leaders, before you caution the youth, you yourself should be able to answer to be accountable for your time. Okay, then some things your young people need to know. Sorry, I was moving a bit quickly. So some of the things young people need to know. Now, this is very important. Enoch Kalemajuko, kindly monitor your button. Sometimes it's getting unmuted. So keep it in mute. Thank you, Enoch Kalemajuko. So anyone can put up a website, and it's our responsibility to make sure that the information we're getting is coming from a reliable source. The youth should be taught to compare different and reliable sources. Now, if we are to go to social media when we are not also grounded in the message of Christ, for example, we will find also false teachers here. People will tell us all things. Now, you need to be very careful, especially on media. We have already got people saying that, you see, they are going to bring a vaccine which will be the mark of the beast. Now, you need to read the Bible very carefully. You need to understand prophecy in its right context. And you need to know what the mark of the beast is. Otherwise, there are so many websites now publishing such information, and whatever information. You'll get all sorts of things about truth. You'll get people who are telling you Sabbath Saturday, for example, and they have their website. Mayama Rachel, kindly keep your Mayama Rachel, I've unmuted you. You seem to be moving or traveling, and you're unmuting yourself, but it's okay. Okay, so using the website for entertainment is just as legitimate as picking up a book, turning on the TV, or putting a CD in stereo, and we need to follow the same guidelines. Now, be careful. Before Oh, sorry, somehow my fellow hosts had muted me. Sorry, let me just redo a few lines. So what I was saying is you should have a purpose on why you go to any social media channel. WhatsApp groups, so many groups now exist, and some of them maybe we don't need to be there, but we are there. So if you don't see value, leave that group. Don't be glued to a group which doesn't add value to you. Then before you go to even to visit your Facebook page, what are you going to do there? You need to know what you're going to do. What are you looking for? For example, are you looking for verses of encouragement? Is that the best place to look for? Can you go to an online Bible? Can you go to a Christian site? Then, are you going to post verses of encouragement? Are they ready? Because when you get there, this is just like a street. There are so many people to bombard you with different things of their interest, marketeers, Satanists, and so on. So whoever has the interest is there. So you need to be very objective in what you're going to do there anyway. And ask yourself this question: would Jesus be cheerful to watch or listen to this with me? If you are listening or watching anything on Facebook or TV or radio or any media, just ask yourself, would Jesus be comfortable if he was seated next to me on this? Because most of the youth have their computers, cell phones, iPads, and gadgets. They can use them in their rooms, their whatever, hostels, their cars, and whatever, like sacred places, lonely places. So that's a very big question. Would Jesus be cheerful if really he was next to me watching this with me? I think that's a very big question, which should be the bottom line of everything you do on social media. So these are rules I'm going to run through quickly. Then we will get to some instructions, and then we'll be ending shortly. So never give out your real name on media. Now, this also I want to explain. There are people on Facebook you'll meet, on WhatsApp, and you don't know them. But they're asking, do you want to know more about, I would like to know more about you. But you're not sure who they are. So why should you give them your details? Maybe your name, but even your name I don't advise. Actually, give to those you know. Befriend people you know physically most as possible, but you can also befriend those you don't know, but do not disclose details. Phone numbers are a bit sensitive unless you're in business, but if you're just on Facebook or on social media, then you need to be very careful. Then, let's say you're doing evangelism. That is another issue. You may need to give details. Or you're doing business. Says, oh, I want to pray for me, so I ask for your number. You can give, but also be cautious because still you don't know who is tracking you on social media. But the other important thing is monitor what you do and monitor your friends on social media. If someone sent a friend request, for example, I will give this a quick example for Facebook. Could you visit their account, their profile, just to see what are their likes, who are their friends? So many people masquerade. I'll tell you a story about this maybe in the next slide, if we have the time, about my experience with Facebook sometime in 14. So never abuse or make fun or bully someone online. Now, this I would expect that even in your physical life, you're not abusing people or making fun of people. I know we talk of it's being unlawful, but as Christians, again, we need to be very careful. Jesus made it clear in Matthew 7:12 that do to others what you'd like them to do to you. That's the golden rule. And if you don't want to be bullied on social media, now there are sites I've visited, even there are groups I'm part of. on Facebook and you find people are too harsh or rough, I want to believe most of these are Christians. They may not be Seventh-day Adventists, or some even could be Seventh-day Adventists, but they are too harsh and unfriendly. And that shouldn't be part of you. Avoid harsh language, abusive language on your page, in your comments, and in anything or in your replies on social media, because we believe that we are using media as another way to glorify our God. Now, set reasonable time limits. Now, this is something very, very important. How much time do we spend on social media? If you do not set time, then you may find yourself fully on social media. I've not been well, and yesterday I was in hospital. Then one of the nurses, instead of attending to the patient, she was on social media. Now, be careful. Some of you have workplaces, and almost all of us have work to do, if not all of us, or even study if you're students. So be careful what time you spend on social media. And this is some counsel. Paul says that I'm not allowed to do any. You say I'm not allowed to do anything, but not everything is good for you. You say I'm allowed to do anything, but not everything is beneficial. So the reality is that most youth's online time will be spent on social media. So limit yourself. If you have a problem with that, then you may need help. So limit your time. Walk with the wise. This is very important. Who are your friends on social media? Which groups do you belong to? Now, make yourself accountable to caring adult. You could make your friends on Facebook and whatever who are responsible people, but also if you feel you're getting away to the wrong things on social media and you want to reform, you could ask a caring adult to just review what you do on social media. Now that will give your mind the sense of responsibility that, oh, in case they see this, then it's not safe. This is not easy to do, but if you've decided that you've really gone wrong with social media and your habits, then this is very important to get a caring adult. I know young people are very sharp because now you can go to your browser history and see so much, but so many young people know how to browse in private mode. Others know how to clear the browser history. So some of these, if you do this, then needs maybe IT experts further to know what you're browsing. But what is important is make yourself accountable for caring adult. I'd promise to tell you a story with in the other one, but the story is about people who befriend us on Facebook, and some of them fake names. There was a Facebook page. Sorry, let me just tell the story as I walk with the wise. There was a Facebook page which was in the names of Pastor John Kakembo, and this person who had befriended most of us Adventists and he started conning myself actually for money sometime in 2014. So what is important is be careful who your friends are, and also what they do and what they send to you. Okay, let's go to addiction. Now, this is a picture I picked from the internet. I wish we were physically together in a hall or church, then we would share. I would ask you what you think about this picture, but I'll tell you what I think. These are two people in love. They are not office mates or what. Now, instead of concentrating on the husband or wife, the mind is on social media. Now, this is very dangerous. And may God help each of us, because we have these gadgets in our homes. Some of us, like many of us actually now with COVID, even after COVID, we are doing either fully working at home or partial at home on computers. oh, we have to visit the internet for some sort. But many of our youth are getting information on social media, entertainment on social media. Now, to the point that now almost all churches are online. So if you ask someone, why are you holding the phone? They have many answers. I'm reading the Bible. I'm reading a hymn book. Oh, I'm actually streaming a live church in South Africa. There's a very good pastor here, but they may not be doing that anyway. They could be lying. But what is important for you to know is this can be addictive. Even if you feel you're doing the right things, it is not right to be on social media all the time. There is time for everything. I think you all, or some of you could have read in Ecclesiastes 3, where Solomon's giving us counsel. There's time for everything. You can't be doing this all the time. What are the warning signs you're addicted? These are also pictures I tried to pull out from the internet. And you won't find them in the presentation they'll share with you, but they're just to show you. This up here we have a young child, and this child, I don't know, maybe a girl, I see much hair. She's on the laptop, and probably the mother feels she's surfing too much or wants to watch something. Then the mother comes and is pulling this girl away. Now, she's screaming and saying, no, I don't want to go away. That's part of addiction. But these are signs I want us to walk through. Diminished interest in activities youth once enjoyed. Maybe you enjoyed doing other things, reading a book, watching football, playing netball, walking around, whatever. But now you no longer want to. You only want to be on the phone. Feelings of distress or anxiety when youth cannot use the internet. When you don't have OTT, now since that we are Ugandans, OTT is basically a Ugandan thing. And if you travel out, you celebrate, you don't have OTT. But if you don't have OTT, then you're like, oh, it's like you're missing food, or you don't have sugar for your tea, or you don't have MBs, then for some of you who have sponsors, whether your boyfriends or parents or girlfriends, whoever may be sponsoring you, you begin calling them for OTT. But you feel life is not normal because you're not on the internet. That's a sign of addiction. Note these signs because you're going to do a test later about internet addiction. All of you have to do it because it's part of the course. Secretive internet usage. If you're hiding all the time, you get on the phone and you're just hiding whatever you're doing, you want to hide and you're like this, then maybe you're addicted. That could be a sign. And you're addicted to wrong things, because if you're really reading the Bible on the phone, do you need to hide? If you're streaming at someone, do you need to hide? There's no problem. Then withdraw from activities with other friends. Now let's say, and family actually. Let's say maybe you used to attend choir practice and you no longer want to attend choir practice. Okay, this is what the Bible says. Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent, praiseworthy, think about such things. Even when you go to the internet, please go with this verse. I know what Pastor Kojo told us was very, very important. To walk as wise people. But think of what you do on social media. I've been talking to young people and telling them, even before you buy a dress or a trouser or shirt or whatever, think about it. Is it praiseworthy? Can you be walking on the road and someone thinks they praise God about this creation? Or they will say, oh, why did God create this one again? So even on social media, what you post, can people read and then they be excited that, oh, it's worth reading this page? There are some Facebook pages I really benefit from, and people are posting good stuff. So this counsel is very important from John in Philippians 4:8, and should be part of our guidance on social media too. The Bible still says that flee the evil desires of youth and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace, along with those who call on the Lord out of a pure heart. Now, this is a very important thing. Flee the evil desires. Social media is very tempting with its content, which sometimes has messages or information or pictures or videos that will take us away from the Lord. And that won't help us to flee from the evil desires, and that will not help us to pursue righteousness. So it's very important. Okay, I'm going to skip some of these slides. There's much information, but you're going to get these slides because of time, and I want to make sure I present the last bit, which is also very important, just to guide you on the next steps. So Romans 12:2, do not copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. Now, be very careful. What does the world do? I know many of us are already victims of this. We follow the world in the way we speak, the way we dress, the way we eat. We want to eat junk like the world eats junk. You don't want to eat healthy food. You want to dress junk like the world dresses junk. Now, when you get to social media, it's just a replica of what you're doing in your physical life. You post things. Actually, some of you could be my friends on Facebook, and I wonder, you have all those funny names you've given yourselves. Let's say, okay, I will use some of the names here I'm seeing. Let's say my brother Henry Shema, and then you find his Facebook name is very different, and you can never know this person. And you're wondering, who is this person? Let's say someone's called Patrick Chibuka, and then you don't even see this Chibuka person on Facebook. There's a very, very different name, which actually doesn't even glorify God, or is connected to whatever, devil worshippers or something. So be very careful. Don't copy the world. All my social media accounts, I use my names, Waiswa Musa. I'll never change them because I don't want to hide my identity. And I also want to be accountable to the people. So when they see something on my page, they should say, oh, some of them are not Adventists, some of them are Adventists, but even those who are not Adventists, they know I'm an Adventist. They will say, why are you posting this? And I should have a purpose why I post something. So please don't copy the world. Kindly be yourself. Then also remember that your body is the temple. This is very important. In 1 Corinthians 6:19-20, you are created for a purpose, and you're created to glorify God. And your social media account and activities are part of you. They are not just another fallen part. They are part of you as God's child. They represent who you are and what you stand for. So if your page will not stand for Christianity, be careful. Actually, be careful also lying about Facebook. Let me share this, or whatever social media account. Someone, for example, posts and they are masquerading as if they are let's say selling something, but when they are not selling, those are typical lies. Or they are masquerading as if so and so is their closest friend or even boyfriend or girlfriend when they are not even in any relationship. Those are all lies. You need to be careful about. Now, there is much that the church says. I'll read this statement bold, and then I'll go to the next slides because I need to conclude this in the next 5 minutes. God calls us to live in light of His grace, knowing the infinite cost God paid to save us. Through the Holy Spirit, we glorify God in our minds, bodies, and spirits. We are called to be a godly people who think, feel, and act in harmony with the principles of heaven. For the Holy Spirit to recreate in us the character of our Lord, we should involve ourselves only in those things which will produce Christ-like purity, health, and joy in our lives. Now, it's very important that you are accountable to God and God alone. Okay, these are some of the practical guidelines as I'll be closing. It's important to understand the key difference between the internet and Facebook. and I mean on social media. I've tried to give that difference earlier, so I will not repeat. Then we also need to know and to help our youth make wise choices about which apps to use and how to use them. Please help your friends, help even your parents. I want to say this because many young people know internet or technology better than their parents, and sometimes you have these apps which bring all sorts of dirty stuff, so you can even help your parents anyway, help anyone to have the good stuff on social media. Practical guidelines are included, but I will not read everything. They are going to send to you this presentation, so make sure you share your email with Ruth Tasingika. She's dealing with this. Or if you're on the WhatsApp group, then share it there. Mrs. Waiswa and the team will be sharing with you this. But basically, the practical guidelines are the bottom line. When you read all of them, is to make sure that you are living a life which glorifies God, and on your social media, your life should not change from the physical life. So you should seek to glorify God as a Christian, full stop. Online friendships, if you have to form online friendship, there's someone I know, is a young man. It's called Zach. He's from Bunga Central, and he says his job is pairing Adventists, making Adventists to marry Adventists. He has a Facebook page which is called Adventist Singles. I think it should be that. I don't know whether Zach is here, but I know there are people here who know Zach. So what is it? I don't want to dispute his idea, but I want to believe, because I've listened to him share with us a presentation. You need to be careful, because he will tell you that they will connect you, but the next steps, you must take so many steps to trust this person, because for them, they pair Adventists online. Adventist singles, they pair with fellow Adventist singles, but then you must do the screening. So even if you are on a Christian site like the one I'm referring to for our brother Zach, Adventist singles, then do the screening. Who is this person? Some of you don't have your right pictures on social media. You get a very slim girl and you put that picture on your account, when for you are just fat. Or others can get a fat one, depending on, I don't know why you have those preferences. Put your right picture there and let people see you. Don't hide your picture. So that means you're hiding something from the public, and which is wrong. So be very careful. I want to repeat this again, that what you do on social media should be uplifting also to others. You could pray for others, send verses that are good, and so on. Okay, I'm jumping most of this because I know you'll have to read them. Then always be cautious with people you chat with online. Remember, somebody in your chat room may not be who they say they are. Yeah, and be very careful. Of recent, during COVID, my Facebook presence has been a bit higher than usual. One, for like two reasons, because I've had more time, and also I needed to follow COVID events and would get maybe updates quickly on Facebook and so on. But also I've been doing marketing on my Facebook page, like business. So then people come on my inbox and they're asking, I want to know more about you. Now, let me give you, I've got 3 instances, but 2 cases I replied immediately and they didn't say anything. I told them, oh, my name is Waiswa Musa. I am a Ugandan, married to 1 wife. I have 2 sons. Then I asked, do you want to know more about me? Now, this is interesting. All these people had their profile pictures for ladies. I don't know whether they are women anymore. But when I gave them those replies, the 3, only 1 maybe was a true person who was trying to market something. But the 2 didn't at all come back to me. When I told them I'm married, I have 2 sons, and I asked them, do you want more information about me? They didn't come back to me. So sometimes you speak your mind. I know when you're single, they may disturb you more. Even when you're married and you're not declaring that you're married, they may disturb you more. But be careful. Even if their marketeers tell them, sorry, I'm not ready to buy your product now, just be clear, because there was the third one as a marketer, I told them so. But be careful, because people may choose to hurt you. I've read about not one, not two, so many stories of internet sourced kidnaps where people have been raped and kidnapped, even killed, but they chatted on Facebook. Actually, I had a story, a true story actually, where someone was conned from Facebook, and then they took the money. I think it was school fees or pocket money, because she was a student. But they met on Facebook, the guy, and they were chatting, and they became friends, and they said, let's meet somewhere. And then this person conned them of the money. And she carried the money from the hostel and took it to town. She was studying in Nakao, I think. This is a true story. It's not something which is just... So you need to be very careful what you do online and who you are with online. Okay, doesn't mean don't refuse chatting or don't post things, but just be careful. Okay. Now my time is up, but these are the last things you will need to do. If this was a live session, you would have done this in groups, but still if you don't have any grouping because of the COVID restrictions, you may do it alone. But I see some of you already in groups based on the pictures I'm seeing on the video. So you could do this in groups. And after you'll help the youth will do this assignment. What are the advantages of new technology in our lives? Now, this you'll do, but later, when you begin training the youth, they'll also have to do this. So it is important that you do it. Then what are the disadvantages? Now, those are 2 things you'll have to generate, whatever answers you can generate, and document them. And as I told you about the file in the beginning, this will be part of your file. Then the other activity, which is very important. Now, doctor information and advice, and SYL has picked some of this information from Dr. Tim Elmo. And because of time, I'll not read everything here. But what is important is for us to know that, for us to read this information. So let me go to the last assignment, which you will need to do. Sorry, I'm skipping this. Yeah, this is the last one, activities. Because of the dangers, some parents are hesitant to grant internet privileges to their teens. Others allow their teens total freedom to surf the net as they please. How much freedom or restraint do you think teens should be allowed on the internet? Well, that one also, you can discuss it in your groups. But then there are these 3 things you need to do. List at least 4 internet safety rules. Now, some of them or most of them we've been discussing this presentation, and they are part of this presentation. But you can also add yours, because this is not exhaustive. Then read 1 Corinthians 9:19 to 23 and discuss what are some ways a Christian could use the internet and social media to help spread the gospel. Now this you'll have ABC, you'll have to write down, put on your files. How can social media be incorporated in youth ministry? Even this one you need to do. I know with COVID, most of this is very easy to answer now. Okay, there's a test you have to do also. It's called an internet addiction test. I know in this presentation they said if you feel you have a problem, but I would advise that we all do it. When you go to the manual, SYL manual, which I saw was shared on our emails. If you don't have it, you can still ask Ruth or Mrs. Waiswa to send you, so that you do internet. This test just checks your habits, and be truthful, don't lie. And then they will tell you that you are addicted or not addicted. So it's very important. Yeah, the rest is just caution to repeat, confess your dependence or addiction to God and ask Him for forgiveness and strength to stop it. Now, some of you are far addicted and deep that you need strictly divine help to come back. Pray about it. Tell your friend. Otherwise, you'll perish in your social media, which we don't want at all. Ask a parent or guardian for help. I've talked about that. Get treatment at a hospital if you need to. Yeah, some of the addiction is far beyond that. You need just treatment to be helped. Maybe psychologically you're sick and it has brought you even sickness because of what you watch and what you read and listen to. Once you are better, purposely ask a trusted adult for accountability and check in regularly with your accountability partner to keep you safe and free. I talked about accountability partner before. Okay, my time is up and I've skipped some of the things, but you'll get this representation. Thank you so much for listening. If you have questions, I think they are coming after the next presentation. So just keep them. I'll be back to answer them. Thank you and God bless you so much. I think I get back to Ruth. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much, Elder Waiswa. I've been
Welcome,
blessed
Ruth.
as a person. Let me see all those that have been blessed by this presentation. Just a wave from you. Yes. May the Lord bless you, Elder. Cybercrime is on the increase, and I know everyone who is attending this right now can agree with me. Some of us could have been victims already. But thank you so much for the caution shared with us, Elder. And I pray that we really take caution as God's children. And I pray that we do not let these words just go by. Share them with your neighbors, family members, parents. Some of us are leaders in our local churches. Some of us already have stories with our young, the children and the youth being victims of the cyber crimes and the terrible things happening because of social media. So let us keep sharing, so that we can do something to save those around us. I want to thank you all for keeping on. Thank you so much. I've been waiting for your questions regarding the presentation, but I haven't received any as yet. Kindly send me your message with a question or something that might need clarity. You can use the general chat room. You can send a private message. You can use the WhatsApp group. But I believe you've enjoyed too much, just like I did. Maybe that's why we have no questions coming through. Right now, allow me to invite Mrs. Waiswa to come and let us know who our next presenter is, and then we can still enjoy. May the Lord bless you all. Keep on. It's SYL at Uganda Union, and may the Lord bless you all.
Okay, thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Ruth. We want to thank Elder Waiswa for taking us through the presentation. And we want to thank the participants. Today there are many. Hope, Ruth, you're taking also note of people present, because
surely
at the end of the 10 seminars, we are going to give the certificate to those who have attended and who have done the assignments. I want to thank Elder Waiswa was handling seminar 10. If you visit